Petitions are running rampant for pretty much everything from movies and TV shows to politics to pretty much anything you can think of. There's some sort of petition for it online. And while I personally am not really that big of a fan of petitions, I don't think I've ever really signed a petition in my life. I think it's funny because it really does, it is a way for people to kind of get their voice out there, even if it doesn't necessarily make a difference. So I'm not like totally against petitions. I personally am just someone who doesn't partake in them myself. But we have here a new petition for Game of Thrones Season 8. There's a petition begging HBO to fix Game of Thrones, and it's 16,000 signatures strong. The disappointment felt within the Game of Thrones community in the wake of Sunday night's episode The Bells was palpable. People were upset with Dany's dramatic, arguably unearned heel turn. People were upset with the rushed conclusion of Jaime's character arc, which seemed to ignore most of what he'd undergone the past few seasons. People were upset because Euron effing Greyjoy exists. So what happens in 2019 when fandoms get upset? They start petitions, of course. In the grand scheme of things, there's nothing wrong with that. And one such petition demanding that HBO remake Season 8 of Game of Thrones with competent writers was launched on change.org soon after the episode aired and has since garnered over 16,000 signatures. Let's take a look and see where it's at right now, actually. I'm curious. Oh, wow. We're actually at 63,000 signatures right now. And it's going up pretty fast. So we're actually at 63,000 signatures right now, which is actually pretty crazy. The idea that HBO would be willing to reinvest the unimaginable amount of time and money it took to make the most expensive series of season of television ever produced simply because fans didn't like it is inherently ridiculous. And I agree with that. I don't think that this petition is going to change anything at all. I don't think, and I pretty much can just tell you right now that HBO is not going to remake Season 8. They just aren't. They're not going to do that. That would just require way too much time, resources, all of that type of stuff. That is just something that is not going to happen. But I think it's good for people to get their voices out there for things like this. And, while this isn't really going to affect anything or change anything in the grand scheme of things, I'm always someone who advocates people being able to voice their opinions, and this is just a way that people can do that. So I don't have a problem with that. Still, this is hardly the first time fandoms have demanded ridiculous, unreasonable things from creators because they felt they were owed something better. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with wanting something better? As the consumers, as the customers, we have a right to want the best product that we get. This is true for everything in life. If I buy like really, really crappy toilet paper and it's just garbage toilet paper, then I'm going to stop supporting that product and I'm going to get better toilet paper. That's just the way that things work. That is the beauty of capitalism. And as fans of these different things, we have the right to be able to express our opinions and express when we aren't happy with the product that we are getting. There's literally not a single thing wrong with that at all. And I'm using literally in the right sense here. I know that word gets overused a lot by the crowd, but so there's nothing wrong with that at all. People are allowed to dislike things. People are allowed to voice their opinions when they aren't happy with things. There's nothing wrong with that. And the idea that is a form of bullying, as a lot of people from the mainstream media like to pretend it is nowadays, is absolutely ridiculous, and that needs to stop because it is not doing a service to the fans, and it is not doing a service to the people who make these things because they are just going to get more lazy. We are the ones that hold them accountable in a way. This series deserves a final season that makes sense, reads the petition's mission statement, which almost borders on self-parody. Subvert my expectations and make it happen, HBO. Which, I don't totally, agree with what this person's saying here, but I get the overall thing that they're trying to imply. Of course, it should be noted that 16,000, which is actually like 60-something 63,000 signatures now, is a mere fraction of the overall Game of Thrones viewership. We're sure there are plenty of people out there who, even if they feel disappointed in where the show has ended up, aren't deluded enough to think HBO would be willing to do a do-over. And yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe even a lot of the people that are signing the petition don't think that is what they're that is going to be accomplished or anything. Maybe they're just trying to voice their opinion, which is totally fine. This show overall has been pretty hated by people. I mean, it has a 42% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's for season 8. Let's see what season 7 was. Season 7 probably wasn't that good either. Oh, it's still at 87%, which overall is pretty stinking good, to be honest. 93% for season 6. So yeah, it's only season 8. Season 8, I mean, everyone can tell. Unless you are just lying to yourself and trying to pretend that there isn't a problem, everyone can tell that there are problems with season 8. And I am not really along the lines of Jeremy. I actually, for the most part, haven't really had a problem with a lot of the creative decisions that they made with season 8. But my problem lies in the execution of these decisions. A lot of the execution of these decisions has been weak. A lot of the writing from leading up to the different twists and turns of the season have been terrible. I talked about this a little bit in my video for the Playboy article yesterday, where, you know, it's not so much I have a problem with where they're going from point A to point B, it's the writing of how they get from point A to point B that I have a problem with. It's really rushed, the execution is terrible, it's super weak, and it just doesn't pull me in like it did with the other seasons. This season should have been a longer season, and they should have really taken the time to really try to develop the things that they were trying to get to with the season. So, but unfortunately, we're in this point now where this is kind of the Last Jedi moment of TV in a lot of ways, which is really depressing because Game of Thrones is one of the best TV shows ever written, and it still is one of the best TV shows ever written. But this last season is just unfortunately super anticlimactic and super weak, and does a complete disservice to the fans and to the rest of the seasons of this show. So with that being said, there you go. There's my video for you guys for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, then consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you for all of your support, and I will talk to you all very soon in another video. Talk to you later. Bye.